Hey, Brian, I think I have a sweet idea for the title of this next episode. Do you want to hear it?
Yes, I do.
I'm thinking we call it the Fellowship of the Two Boos, because you are the Frodo to my Samwise Gamgee.
Oh, my precious.
I am, of course, Boo Santiago, one half of the Two Boos, and I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the tall drink of water himself.
Boo Collier.
And together, we make the
Two Boos.
Two Boos, exactly. Who are the Two Boos? Where do we come from? How did we meet? Are we even friends? Do we really even like each other? That is what this episode is going to be about. We're just going to have you guys get to know us a little bit, get an idea of what our intentions are, who we are, what the plan is for this channel. We are actually pretty new to the YouTube space, so we really just want to take the time to, like I said, just get some background on us and just see what we're all about. So without further ado, Brian, I want to start with talking about how do we actually meet? When was that? How did we meet? And I will let you get the first dibs on explaining from your perspective how you came to meet me.
Yes, I came to meet Boo. It was back in, I think, October of 2012. So, side note, Boo is literally called Boo by most people. I am called Brian, but my nickname from my parents since I was young, was Boo. So that was a bonding experience. That's why we go by the Two Boos podcast. Boo's actual name, I'll let him pronounce it correctly. But essentially, people call Boo Boo because it's easier than saying his actual name. And then my nickname as a kid was Boo. So I feel alone here, man, just without you on screen. You know, it's weird.
I just wanted to give you
you just want to give me the spotlight.
Yeah.
No, it was October 2012. Boo and I went for a job interview at a place that we will not mention. We can never mention it. And from there, so there was like a pre-meeting. What did they call it again? It was like a hiring event. That's what it was. We went to a hiring event with dude, there was a lot of people. It was like 50 plus people packed in this place. I almost slipped and said where it is. Mm-hmm. Place that we eventually wound up working together at.
If I could interject just a smidge.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we actually met
you're right.
2012.
You're right.
Hiring event
for the same place.
Hiring event for the same place. We were both trying to get in. Come to find out,
true.
Later on, it would be I think for you, your second attempt at getting the job, my third attempt. And that's where we joined forces again, but I'll let you continue.
No, that's true. And that was like a year or two prior, wasn't it? That we had that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we went to a hiring event at this location of work together to try to get hired. Didn't happen. They looked at both of us and said, "You're just not what we're looking for right now." So, Boo waddled out of the I walked out. I stood up straight, head back with my shoulders up, and was like, I'm going to work on what I need to work on to get this going. You sat up, kind of hunched over, just waddled out, tail between your legs.
That's probably why I didn't get the job.
Yeah. They were like, get the hell out of here, man. And then like a year or two later, him and I come back. And that's right, we did, because we were in the hiring event. We did notice each other. And I think you and I were both like, weren't you at one like a year or two ago? And you were like, yeah, I was. And I was like, I remember that. From there, essentially, we both got hired. Funny thing, too, is like before that, I think we did a group interview. So they called both of us after the hiring event and said, hey, we're interested. We want to bring you back in for an interview. And you and I were both in there. And then we saw each other again. And we were like, hey. We both made it, and then we got hired. Amazing experience. The place that Boo and I worked at together, it's what created the Two Boos. Yeah, it's pretty wild how much interviewing we had to go through to get hired at this place of work.
And I think that's what kind of grew our bond, because we came out of this grueling process, and then we kind of saw each other at the finish line, and we were like, wow. Like, not only, also I think too that we had the common ground that we had both been through the process more than once at least.
Yeah.
Me 3 times, but same for you twice. I mean, I know it was an important job that I'm definitely grateful for, but when I look back, I'm like, all those interviews and all that qualifying just for, I don't know. It seems a little much.
It's kind of ridiculous. It's kind of ridiculous.
Looking back on it, it's a little interesting, but hey, everything gets us to this point.
funny, like looking back on that time, and it feels like so long ago, which at this point it actually was, because
It is.
you stopped working there 5 years after. We got hired in 2012. Boo left in 2017. I worked at this place till 2021 when I left. So, I mean, what, 18, 19, 22? Yeah, so I worked there 4 years without you. So, I mean, and it's
Yeah.
been 2 years since then. So it has been some time. It's pretty wild as I go through the whole historical, year
Yeah.
by year, but it's wild.
It was the same from my perspective. I had been going through this whole process, and then I finally noticed. And the thing is, like, no offense, but you were easy to, or it wasn't hard to miss you because you were this tall, like over 6 foot guy.
That's
He looks
offensive.
familiar. No, I mean,
That's
you know what I mean,
heightism.
like-
That's
I
heightism.
apologize. But like I noticed you, I remember, oh yeah, like he had the glasses, he was a taller guy. And I was
Yeah.
like, I remember. And then that's what kind of gave me the
Let's
confidence to
just
go up
let's
and be
just
like,
call the
"Hey."
kettle. Let's just call the kettle black. Boo had a crush on me. He saw so I'm 6'5". Boo's like 5'3", 5'4". I'm just
Damn.
joking.
Didn't
You're like what, 5'7", 5'8"?
5'7", yeah. I wish
5'7".
I was 5'9", but yeah,
You're my wife's height.
it's crazy.
but yeah, Boo he saw tall, dark, and handsome. Dark is in my hair though, because I'm white as hell. I'm very, very white. Even though I am Puerto Rican as well. We can always talk about that later on. My
That's
mom's
true.
Puerto Rican, but
One of
that's
the-
probably the bond as well.
We get the job together. Obviously, we're spending a lot more time together. We go through training together.
Yep. It was
And there
beautiful.
starts to be something I'm noticing where, especially with our sense of humor, we start to really get to know each other and start to make jokes about things. And I'm noticing that we both have the same kind of mindset when it comes to jokes or what's funny. When we would start being funny with each other people felt very included and wanted to be part of that. And I think we kind of became the class clowns, if you will,
Oh,
of
yeah.
our
100%,
of our team,
100%.
almost to our detriment because it ended
Yeah.
up being like at
Yeah.
least we ended up getting pointed at for a lot of things. When things wouldn't go right, they would just say, "Oh, it's the class clowns. It's Boo
Yeah.
and Brian, causing a ruckus."
Yeah,
we did cause a ruckus, but
we did cause a ruckus, but here's the thing: I'm a goofball. I need
Yeah.
that to get through the day, and at the end
That's
of
a
the
good way to
day,
put it.
some people, like, it got me through craziness at work. I think what it is, people were butthurt. I think they were
they
jealous.
wanted, yes, and I
They
think
wanted what we had.
people when they see two people who have an energy, they are alike, they laugh together, they smile, most of the times they're very positive about things. They just want that. It's infectious. A lot of people saw that and they
Yeah.
wanted to be part of it, which leads kind of leaning into the podcast side of things, where a lot of times when we would be around people, I think like when we're around people, you and I will start riffing kind of back and forth, and people
Yeah.
notice that. And we also would get into like a lot of conversations about pop culture, about geek stuff, and we were very passionate about it. And I think
Yeah.
a lot of people heard that and they wanted to hear what we had to say. And people would talk to me and say, like, you know a lot about particular things, like you should start a podcast, you should podcast. And I was just like, I don't even know where even to start. But one day I was like, I'm going to give it a shot. I had recording software on my Mac, Logic Pro, which I got from the job. I won't say where, but it's kind of a hint. Got the software for free,
people.
and it's recording software. So I'm like, you know what? I can use this. I looked on Google on how to actually start a recording, and I didn't have a mic. All I had was a Turtle Beach gaming headset. That was USB.
That was me like 2 weeks ago on the podcast with my brother.
If you want to see what that looks like, you could see Brian on
I had a-
episode
I had a-
36. Yeah.
So similar.
Actually, honestly, yours sounded better than the one I had because I don't think mine was really for that. So I remember hooking everything up, and then I'm like, all right, here we go. And I'm just sitting in my house alone. And I'm like, what the heck? I had just seen the movie Casino by Martin Scorsese with Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci.
Oh,
And was
I
like,
know.
You know what?
I know.
I like Martin Scorsese. I've seen a lot of his movies. Why don't I do the first episode on my top Martin Scorsese movie? So here I am sitting in my kitchen by myself, just talking about different things.
Yeah.
And that was the first episode was actually me by myself.
It was called
then I was
the
like-
one. It was called the One Boo.
Well,
What did you?
that
What
actually
was
is
it
a better
called?
thing. So the name of the podcast was actually Who is Boo? That was in my head what I wanted to do.
Oh.
The Who is Boo podcast.
Actually, it's not awful. It's not
Because it was
terrible.
like me, because the idea. But then I slowly realized that I need to get a guest. I need someone to riff off of. Because props to all the people out there who can do a whole podcast by themselves. And I think
Yeah,
now
honest to
with
God.
like live and streaming, it makes it easier because you can kind of go off the comments and you kind of have an audience to. But when you're just sitting there recording it, not doing it live, trying to keep that going and making sure you're not taking too long of breaks and all that kind of gets in your head.
Yeah.
And if you listen to the first podcast I did, like I still do it now because we've kind of been on and off with recording, but like there was a lot of ums and ahs and I don't know, maybe,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like you could tell I'm not confident. And
You were
it's
just
crazy
you were having a back and forth with yourself.
I pretty much was.
You were like asking questions to yourself, and you're like,
know.
I guess I like Martin Scorsese. What films do you like?
But
Love that's actually real quick. That's a good idea. Is for us to react to some of our just
Yeah.
audio of like the first couple episodes. We should do that for a podcast.
And if you guys want to see that, anyone watching this video, like the video or comment, let us know if you want to see that, because I actually would be pretty fun. I think it's also can be somewhat educational to let you know that just start it. Like just start doing it. If you want to do podcasting, if you want to do something, just do it, get it out there. And then over time it evolves. And also ask people for feedback, because one of the things that I did was I sent it to you. Being a good friend, I was like, hey, honestly, let me know what you think.
I may have called you a loser, but that was it's just constructive criticism. It's feedback. You know, that's another hint of where we worked. Feedback. It was all out of love.
That leads into us coming together for the podcast, where I invited you on as a guest. The episode was DC versus Marvel, where we talked about kind of the pros and cons of both.
That's hilarious.
And I brought you on, and then at the end of the episode, we teased, because we did that in 2 parts, and I think for the second part, you had said like how much fun you were having, and you'd like to do it again. The idea came from both of us that why don't we do it together, because we have that chemistry. We're already friends.
Together.
It gives us an opportunity to nerd out and talk about things. Exactly. Get a connection going. And the name itself, that goes back to what you mentioned. I was always called Boo. My real name is Anibal.
Say your real name. Say it out loud.
My real name is Anibal.
Anibal.
And that is a little bit tricky for people to pronounce. So my family, all through my life, my mother, she gave me the name Boo, but then they cut it to Boo for short. And that just carried on. Like people would ask me, hey, do you have a nickname? I'd say Boo, and they were fine with it. Even at jobs, people would call me Boo, and I would just roll with it, and it would be fine. Somewhere along the line, we had the conversation about nicknames, and you ended up mentioning that your family as well, and I've heard your dad and your mother call you that. They call you Boo. So we both had, and how weird is that? We're such good friends, and we also have the same exact nickname. And we thought about it, we're like, well, 2 Boos, how many other Boos are there out there that are together? Why don't we call it the 2 Boos podcast? And that began the journey that we're on now with the
That's
2
history.
Boos.
It's history.
Yeah.
We've known each other 2012, 12 years, 13 years, which is crazy. Well over a decade. So Boo and I mean, how many times we go on vacations together all the time? We've been to Disney World together in Florida, like probably, I mean, how many times at this point?
People might be triggered by this because of how much crap we talk on Disney.
I know.
Since 2017, we've been there every year, I think, except one, but then we went twice in 2020, actually.
And like you said, multiple times, sometimes a year. And we've gone other places too. It's not just Disney World. And, we can get in that debate, We crap on Disney sometimes, but ultimately we still love it. They just, whatever. Well, Disney World's its own island.
Yeah, I think the parks, the attractions are a different distinction than the actual entertainment side of it, and the movies and all that in TV.
We are not Disney adults. I'm not a cringe creep. I love Disney. I love it. Makes me feel like a kid, but I'm not walking in, looking at the castle and breaking down in tears. I'm not a weirdo. I'm not cosplaying. I'm not meeting, Gaston and like feeling his muscles and crying and like telling him he's my hero. He is my hero. But
you did meet Vader and you got pretty emotional.
Vader was scary.
Actually,
yeah, I was legitimately intimidated because he was like as tall as me and I was frightened. We met BB-8 as well. That one teared me up because BB-8 was freaking adorable. I've known Boo for a long time, and I've had the pleasure of hearing multiple people mispronounce Boo's actual name, Anibal. Or Anibal. What do they call? They call you Annabelle. They call you
Antabal.
Antabal. What did
Annabelle?
Annabelle's the big one. They'd be like Annabelle. I'm like, come on. Annabelle? It's Anibal.
People just say it like animal. They say Annibal, like Hannibal. But
I was literally just gonna say like Hannibal Lecter, but like you do have similarities to him in real life, outside podcasting. So that's why people can't pronounce your name, and I don't think it's that difficult, to be honest with you. I think I say it in a variety of ways as well, but like I can say it ultimately. But people just butcher your name, man. People even mispronounce Boo. I introduced Boo Anibal to my
Right.
pastor and said, "This is Boo," and he called him Bo for like 2 months, which was adorable,
Yeah.
to be honest with you, because he was like
That's fun.
certain it was correct. It was cute as hell, or cute as heaven, because it was church. You just don't have any
Cute as
luck.
heaven.
You just cute as heaven. That's actually adorable. That totes adorbs.
Yeah.
I might start using that. You are just cute as heaven.
And when I played baseball back in the day when I was younger, like in 6th grade or 5th grade,
They called you wanker, didn't they?
they called me E-ball. That's what they used
Okay.
to call me E-ball.
All right.
They would just E-ball. They wouldn't even try. They'd just be like E-ball, and then it kind of stuck, and that was my nickname, E-ball.
How was that for you when you were a kid and you would go into like it'd be like, you know, you're introducing yourself in 2nd grade? Like, did you go by
Well-
Boo, or did you say Anibal and like all the kids are like, we're just gonna call him Annabelle?
I didn't really care that much, so I never really corrected them. And then in high school, it was funny because when they used to call out attendance, so they would go down the list, and most teachers, like on the first day or the first week, they would stop. And I knew it was alphabetical order, so I knew when I was coming up. So they would literally stop, and then they would like look around for someone to pronounce it for them, and I would say it. And then it would kind of, I would do that once, and then I wouldn't keep doing it if they messed it up down the road. I don't take too much offense to it. I know there are other people that, you know, if someone mispronounces their name, they have an issue with it. For me, it's like, I don't know. And anything I think with an accent in the name gets kind of tough for people, which is fine. And I don't take offense to it. You know.
What is Vince McMahon's daughter, Stephanie? Stephanie, right?
Mhm.
That meme of her with that like smile she has. And it's
Mexican
like
restaurant.
when you go to a Mexican restaurant and you order another margarita and you say gracias.
Yeah.
And then she like gives, that was the teachers with you.
Right.
When they started getting your name right, even though they probably weren't pronouncing it right, they would feel a little, you know, Hispanic flair. Hey, another similarity is you were named after your dad. You have the same name as your father. Now are you a junior?
No, not the exact.
So-
I have a middle name. He does not have a middle name.
There we go. Another similarity. So your dad is Anibal Santiago, not a junior though. And then my dad's name is Brian as well. But I'm not a junior because we have different middle names. So
Yeah.
that's something else we just figured out.
That's what brings us here now, and where we're at is we feel like we want people to join in on the fun, hang out with us, have a good time. There's a lot of maybe dishonest people, or people who are disingenuous about
Yeah.
what they're putting out on podcasts or social media or YouTube. We want to try to be as authentic as we can because we feel like people enjoy hanging out with us. They enjoy hearing what we have to say. They enjoy joining in the conversations. If you're watching this and you want to be part of that, subscribe, comment, let us know. We like the conversations. We're also mature enough where we can handle people with negative feedback or negative things to say. You know, I try not to take a lot of things personal. You're probably a little bit more the emotional side
I'm sensitive.
of things.
I'm very sensitive.
Yeah. But either way, we kind of balance each other though. Where someone might be more emotional, you know, you'll come in with the more, I guess, we sound like we're like a couple now. But you know what I mean?
We kind of are at the end of the day.
Like if
we weren't married to women, we'd probably be together. Let's just put it
we
that
would
way.
probably be roommates. We've had this
Well,
conversation with our wives. We would
maybe
probably
more.
be roommates. We'd probably live maybe more.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the gist of it there. Like we just wanted to give some background, just kind of talk about how we came through. There's tons of stories, and we've threaded little stories in previous episodes of the podcast. You can find all of our podcast episodes in audio form on all the podcast streaming platforms. So if you want to get stories about, you know, different experiences with seeing movies, different books, different comics, different TV shows, and our related experiences, you know, we have
All the
conversations about movie experiences, premieres, you know, when Force Awakens came out. There's tons of stories where you can get to know our background and what we're about. But we wanted to actually, being on YouTube now, being in video, we wanted to share kind of some background to kind of get you started on this journey.
We also have uploaded all of our podcasts on VHS tapes, and we sprinkled them around like Salvation Armies and stuff around the U.S. So you might come across one. You know, I'll put it on standard DVD, Blu-ray DVD, kind of sneak them into some Goodwills. Yeah. So you know, we're out there. We're out there. We're just two ordinary guys. We're just two ordinary guys. You know what I mean? I drive a RAV4. You know what I'm saying? Like Boo drives a Taurus or whatever the hell it is. You know. We're nothing special, and I'm not going to sit here and try to act like I'm an expert on anything when it comes to film, you know, games, music. I'm not. It's just two ordinary dudes. Boo's better than I am at that, but we're just two ordinary guys just giving our opinion. And if you want to sit here and listen, we welcome it. We want it. Yeah. We're just fans, and we do have a passion for stuff, but it's just your normal conversation you'd have with somebody. We're just trying to spice it up a bit.
Everyone's unique. Everyone has their own thing they bring to the table, so we feel like in our conversations and what we share, it's something that is unique to us in particular and to our relationship as well. And we think people will find some common ground there and hopefully enjoy. Like I said, if we can make you laugh, smile, have a good time, that's all. That's a win for me. And,
if I can make you giddy and just, trembling in your seat,
a pleasurable experience.
Well, not in a weird way like that.
And your eyes.
We want you to feel like you're in the room with us discussing something, and that we hear you and you hear us. That's what it's all about.
Positive, having fun, sharing stuff, geeking out. That's what the Two Boos are about. I want to thank you if you stayed this long. We appreciate it. Even if you jumped in just to watch a little bit, thank you for coming in. If there's anything you want to join in on the conversation, feel free to comment. Let us know. And if you want to join us for the ride, because we're constantly evolving, like I said, I started with just a Turtle Beach gaming headset, and now look where we are. We have full video, we have microphones, we've been, progressing, and that's all it takes. Just start doing the thing. And again, if you want to continue to join us and see where we go, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel.
Oh yeah.
And it's a big help. It's not only for numbers and statistics, it's just so that way you can stay in the loop and know what's going on.
But it is also about numbers.
Well, it also helps us get more exposure so more people can see us and enjoy the content and everything. But it's not the main big thing.
At
we got 20 subscribers.
baby.
I'll take it. Look at your subscriber count and imagine if there was a room filled with that many people and trying to talk in front of those people. You put 20 people in a room, it's a good bit of people.
I'm not going to lie to you, though. I'm one of those subscribers, so it's really 19.
Well, me too. So 18.
Okay, so really 18. So help us out, guys. Get us 2 more so Boo and I aren't lying about our stats.
But there you have it. There we go. That's a little insider on the Two Boos. Again, please consider subscribing. Join us for the ride. We would love to have you join. And be on the lookout for our full episodes of the Two Boos podcast. That's where we hang out. We break down everything from pop culture, entertainment, TV, movies, comics, or just whatever's on our mind. So thank you for joining. If you stayed this long, we really appreciate it. Be sure to like. And with that being said, this is the Two Boos signing off.
God bless.
Peace.